Well, hello and good morning. Today we are taking the Evo for a service. An overdue service, I'll be quite honest.
All right, two very quick things about this video before it starts. Number one is it was recorded back in September, which as of today, we are on the 23rd of April. So it's about 6 months overdue. The reason for that, and the second thing, is that the audio is just a little bit ropey, mainly at the start. I tried to record it on a GoPro and I put like wind filters on because I was filming outside, and the wind filters just kind of got in the way of the audio recording, which sucks a little bit. I've recovered it as much as possible using like some AI enhanced audio software, so hopefully we can get by that. There's a couple of moments where it dips in and out, but the main chunk of the video is great. And there's a really good interview with Auto Talks Chris, the managing director. So definitely stick around for that. In this video, I do go on to mention very shortly that there isn't an update on the Supra. I've obviously since got the Supra sorted out, a load of things on that, so that video will be coming pretty soon after this one as well. So keep an eye out for that one. In the meantime, back to the video.
I'll show you first of all Supra. Nothing's changed on it since the last video, I'm afraid. It's not been used for a little bit, so the battery had gone flat and was unrecoverable, unfortunately. The Evo, as you might be able to see, there's a couple of things I've changed. So the spoiler and the roof, the bonnet, I've removed that horrendous carbon fiber wrap that was on it from the previous owner, and also rear lights I've put back to standard. Again, just looks a little bit smarter. I think I'm not a huge fan of those kind of Lexus style lights.
So it's 7 o'clock in the morning, so roughly. And I've got to make a move because I'm going to be there for 8:30. But I will do a little bit of a catch up on the way there.
So as I sort of mentioned in the last video, we've had our first child, me and my girlfriend, had a little boy called Austin, who is an absolute delight, but it has obviously meant that the videos have just fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. I know I kind of always have an excuse. I feel like this one's kind of valid. Yeah, and that also has kind of pushed back the service for this car as well, just while we kind of get settled with everything. So I'm heading to a place called Auto Talk in Aylesbury, which is like an hour and a half away for me. It's the place to go for Evos, apparently. So I wanted to go check it out and get the first proper service done there, at least. Just sort of for them to have a look over the car, see what condition it's in, because I've obviously bought this car from a private seller and don't know a lot about the history, and I've already had to kind of rectify a few of the things which I didn't like about the car. So I think it's definitely worth just having a quick look over it with the guys who know everything about these cars. It has actually had a service there before, I believe. I might be wrong on that one. So hopefully they know the car. It was under a different reg, but they might know it by the VIN or something. So it'd be good to chat to the guys there, and if they know anything about the history of the car and what's been done to it, anything like that. Stuff that I'm obviously unsure of. I know a lot of the modifications that have been done, but I don't know everything, and hopefully they will. One of the issues that's still there, unfortunately, is the AFS warning light is still flashing on the dashboard. Yeah, I've had that issue since I've owned the car, and I guess you kind of get used to it a little bit, but it is very annoying because it's quite obnoxious, the flashing light. I have actually put in some resistors into the wiring loom for the bulbs to try and trick it into thinking that AFS system is rigged up. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked because I think I need to just wipe the code itself, but my code reader that I have is obviously a very basic one, so I can't do it my end. So I will ask the guys there if they're able to wipe it for me. But anyway, enough of me blabbing on. We're going to head to Auto Talk now in this horrendous traffic that I've now just got stuck in. Obviously brake lights in front of me. How frustrating. As you can probably see around me, this is the place to go for Evos. We've got all sorts of lovely cars here. hopefully we're going to have a chat with Chris here, just so we can have a little look around the car with him. Kind of knows what he's doing. He's the manager director here. But yeah, they're just pulling the car into the shop now. And I'll have a little play around and hopefully sort it out. A quick nose round at some cars here. This BMW is stunning. I love these. They grow on me. It took a little while, but it got there. Being a estate, it's pretty cool. See another Evo 10 here. Evo 5. These are my favourite ones. Although it doesn't have a little light insert there, which I really like. Just some lovely cars here. We've got a Supra back there, an old Supra Mark III. Yeah, R34 way in the back there. Just all sorts of lovely Evos. You can see an R32 there, possibly. It might be a little bit dark, just there. Civic, we've got an EK Civic in the shop as well. So yeah, it's the place to go. All right, so I'm delighted to be joined with Chris.
Good morning.
Yeah, hello, from Auto Talk, managing director, is that right?
Yeah, I'm the owner of Auto Talk.
Lovely stuff. Maybe try to just sort of explain who Auto Talk are first.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a performance car specialist based in Buckinghamshire, primarily specialising in Mitsubishi Evos and Nissan GTRs. Been doing it for, well, I've been in the scene for over 20 years, but the business has been going 12 years plus.
So this guy knows his stuff.
We know Evos well.
First question I actually wanted to quickly ask you, just before we have a look around my car, is Evo X in particular, Evo 10.
Yep.
Probably known as maybe the runt-ability, informally, of the Evos. Do you stand by that?
It's really... it's an interesting question. I always get asked this, and which is like, your favourite Evo, and I've owned most of them. I've dailied an Evo 10 SST, not the worst of the worst, but the one with a gearbox that people sort of try and steer away from. But essentially, most Evo 10s are SST. You're lucky enough, an owner of a manual.
Yeah.
But
Unintentionally, I may add. I
was
was looking for an SST, and then this manual came about, and I was like, I'm just going to stump up the extra money. I think I can get one.
Good move. Good move. Yeah, no, I think Evo 10. I've got, there's definitely a place for an Evo 10 for sure. I think if you've been through the early models of Evo, you may say that they are a little bit more, bit rawer, a bit more of a potentially driver's car. I know you've tracked this one, but I've not tracked 10, so I can't really comment on that. But
well, it was a lot of fun, but actually I've not tracked any of the other ones, so I can't really compare.
I'm sure they're very good on track, especially the manual. I probably wouldn't recommend them lots of track working in SST just because of the temperatures and the reliability of the gearbox and it's built. But I think like I say, I've got a sweet spot in heart for the 10s as well, because I think they are a great car, very user friendly, and they are a good daily. I would say it's the car to Evo to daily if you're going to daily one.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, well,
that's a very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
Should we have a quick look around while we're here and just sort of see what we're looking at and how mine's looking?
Of course. So you come in for a full fluid service, something that we do or recommend to do once a year or every 10,000 miles really on these. So we go through all the fluids on the car, start with the engine oil. So we drain the engine oil, put a new Mitsubishi filter on it, and then up front there's a transfer box and the gearbox as well. So those fluids get changed. We have a good look around the car. Quite common stuff on the 10s, as you can see. There's sort of surface corrosion on the sump. They bubble up, blister up a little bit, and they can get to a point where they get a little bit porous and start leaking oil. But this one's just showing signs of surface rust. Very common on all Evos, really, is just surface rust and corrosion on the metal components. So
we can see it a lot here as well.
Subframes especially, and the cross member there.
Is that just UK ones, or is that just in general?
Mainly UK cars, because they are just open to the elements. Seeing it a lot more on the 10s now, because the 10s are getting used, where the early cars are getting a bit precious now and they don't really do the mileage. So the 10s are...
They're getting on now, right? This is 2011, so it's 13 years old now. So
absolutely. A couple of advisories up front. You've got the arch liners, they've worn out, probably because the car's lowered. Got spaces on it. I haven't looked.
It has actually got spaces.
Yeah, so generally if they're lowered and got spaces on them, then their front wheels will catch the arches on turning. So It just wears it away both sides, being cable tied up to keep it out of the way, but yeah, it's just a cosmetic thing. But on the right hand side, it does protect that engine oil cooler, so you do want to be careful with that. So it will fling a lot of dirt up in there as well.
I've got a bit of scarring.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something to be wary of. Underside of the car, I mean, the main thing is like obviously with corrosion and for chassis, but this is pretty good. It's all solid. You can see around there. It's horrendous. There's a little bit of stuff on there.
Not horrendous is what we want to hear.
Yeah, it's not terrible. We do see some of the 10s now are getting pretty bad, but this one is it's normal to see this level of surface rust.
Good stuff.
Something up the front, it's very difficult to see, and you may not be able to pick it up on the camera. There's the exhaust blow.
Okay.
I think potentially best if you go up through this way.
Yeah.
You can see all the soot on the
I can see
tube and all up there. So basically, it's blowing from somewhere up there, which is the turbo downpipe area, or potentially the bottom of the manifold. They do suffer these even cracked turbos and cracked manifolds, which is a very common.
I did actually read that one. Yeah,
very, very common. So basically, if it hasn't had one in its life, and it's going to need one at some point, unfortunately. I don't know what's the mileage on this one.
It's getting up there actually. 93.
Okay.
Yeah, 93.
Yeah, I would say
Probably due.
probably due. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Coming back in, we've got the AYC and the rear diff fluid there. We're just draining it now. So, AYC fluid in the back, gear oil, rear diff oil in the front compartment there. So
Now I hear the AYC's common failure point.
yes, absolutely. So the pump's up there under that bracket, so it sits in a terrible place right behind the wheel. Water ingress can get into it, and they end up corroding and failing on the inside out. So corrosion gets built in. We do you'll have to excuse this sandwich van, it's very loud.
Cottage bakery. Love it. So the AYC, I believe a lot of people relocate these, is that right?
Do, yeah. So something we developed probably 10 years ago now, a relocation kit to put the pump into the boot. So it doesn't take a lot of space up, it's tucked away in the corner of the boot. Something that just gets the pump out of the elements. So generally, once we do that, we normally sell it with a refurbished pump. So we do a drive-in, drive-out service. It's about a day's work. It's quite a big job. We relocate all the pipes and the pump into the boot.
And so that just basically moves upwards effectively into the boot.
Correct. So that'll be out of that area there. And if we do the relocation with a rebuilt pump by ourselves, and we offer a lifetime warranty on the pump, so you'll never have the AYC fault again, which is peace of mind. It's well worthy investment. It's one of these cars because again, it's one of the common failure points. There's a few on these Evo 10s, and it's one of them.
Yeah, that's something, when obviously you buy a car like this, you don't just kind of go into it, unknowingly. So yeah, it's something that I noticed came up quite a lot when you're doing the research.
Yeah, when you do research, it'll be one of the top five points. The rear end, you've got again subframes, so it's surface rust. It's not the end of the world because it is a bolt-on component. It can be replaced. You'll see like the alignment bolts there. That's the rear alignment. Toe and camber bolts. They can get quite seized up. It looks like they've moved for a while. So the technician who did the test drive did say the steering wheel was a little bit off centre. So we'd recommend a wheel alignment on it, and then probably freeing up these nuts and bolts because they haven't moved for a while. So we sometimes find that they seize up and you end up needing new hardware. And bolt and
you don't move them now, you'll never move them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So when we do a lot of underside restorations and refurbishments, and we actually keep the subframes in stock on a part exchange service. So like a powder coated subframe and new bushes, we do a swap out. If we're doing like little mini restos, even bigger restos. In the boot. Your car's with coilovers, so it's slightly lower than standard.
So I actually don't know what these coilovers are. I've never heard of that brand before. Are they a known brand or not?
Not something I've come across. No, I actually had a look at them and just
because I have noticed they've got KW adjusters in the boot.
I bet.
But I don't know if that's just an aftermarket adjustment for these coils. I don't actually know.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I've not heard of them.
No.
Which is rare because we see a lot of different cars and a lot of
which doesn't really bode well, does it necessarily? But it does handle quite well. Yeah.
And what you find normally with cheap coilovers over time, they start knocking and bang,
Yeah.
and then start leaking more fluid out. But it's look pretty dry. It look pretty good.
Yeah, it's not knocking or anything. It is firm though. It is
Yeah.
firm. I do need to go and adjust the suspension actually, but I'm not 100% sure how I go about doing that. But
Yeah, we can advise and let me show you how to do that. But yeah, generally speaking, it's in good condition. It's not. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got something. That's,
Well, that's the main thing, is that I wanted to make sure I hadn't bought a rotter, and it seems that I haven't necessarily, so that's a good thing.
No, it looks good, and especially with that mileage, it's done well. I think
Yeah.
there's just some rear brake pads are getting low.
Yes.
The technician noted that they need some brake pads, and I think the inside of the discs are fairly rusted and lit.
I think I might need fronts as well, actually,
Yeah.
potentially. What are the ones to go for?
All depends on budget and what you're using the car for. But if you are doing a little bit of track work and you've seen a few heat, decent heat cycles in it, I would always recommend sticking with a two-piece disc on the front, because it comes from factory with two-piece disc. So you want to stay with that.
Yep.
You can go like solid disc, but it's not recommended because, like I say, they come from the factory with a two-piece disc, so it's worth keeping that. And gyro disc is a good brand. So
Okay.
gyro disc, two-piece disc, you can get the matching ones for the rear, so you can get two-piece rear disc, and then make that with a suitable pad ready for your use. If it's road use, fast road, then like a Frodo, GS 2.5.
Yeah.
Or if you go in,
The ones I use on my Supra are, I think they're Hadjid RSL 129 or something like that. I don't know if they do a similar one.
they do an RS29 for these, which is a fantastic pad, a bit more aggressive, more suitable for the track. So yeah, really, really good bike on that. But yeah, a little bit more aggressive, so you get more brake dust, maybe a little bit of noise, but
Yeah,
very.
because it is noticeable when I go from this into the Supra. I mean, I've got K-Sport 8 pots on the front, so they're not like, an incredible set of brakes, but it is noticeable going from this car to that, which is 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more bite to it, so I definitely need to sort something out with it.
Yeah, better
With brakes. Especially as they are Brembos as well, right? So
yeah, it's got braided lines on it, so it has been the lines like it. Potentially it just needs good, but just a hold, I think.
Yeah.
I need to freshen up. Probably give the caliper a little bit, a service that you'll want to get changed, and that should improve the feel no end.
lovely. Well, thanks so much for that, Chris. Much
No,
appreciated. Yeah, hopefully nothing else comes about on the remainder of the service, but yeah.
I'm sure it won't. We've got a decent car there, so yeah, keep on top of it, look after it, and it'll serve you well.
Yes, sir.
So I was just saying to Chris that I noticed that the rear tyre was a little low, and I've got a big old nail going through there. So I'm going to need probably a new tyre, unfortunately. I've got the fronts done after the track day, and now I'm probably going to need to get the rears done as well.
So I'll just run through the invoice very quickly. So obviously, aside from the service, we've had the AFS one light has been deleted, which is amazing. So that's going to be really nice to be able to actually not be distracted by my dashboard constantly. And also, they've sorted out the little rattle that I mentioned in my last video in the door card. That was really annoying, and so sorted that out. Taking the door card off and just tighten everything up in there. So yeah, that's all sorted. The service itself is obviously that's diff oil, gearbox oil, engine oil, sumpter washers, all that kind of the normal stuff, spark plugs. And then we've also done fuel pump relay, I believe. I wonder if that was the problem I was having at the time on track with the fuel starvation. Don't know if it's got anything to do with that, but obviously I'll find out the next time I take this out on track. I did have a few advisories. We obviously talked over a little bit through them with Chris at the time, but on here, yes, I've got an exhaust blow at manifold side, which is quite a common fault, and I think again it might be something I mentioned in my first video. It's quite a common issue with these Evo 10s, so I'll have to get that looked at some point. We're not sure whether it's the manifold itself or somewhat of the turbo, but I'm sure we'll have a little look at that. I need front and rear brakes. Again, I knew that needed doing. That was something that was flagged in the MOT as well. And obviously the brakes themselves aren't quite as good as the Super brakes, so yeah, I would like to get them sorted and hopefully get some good brakes on there eventually. And then there's various flags for sort of corrosion, which yeah, I think it's quite common with Japanese cars, especially ones that are based in the UK like this. But yeah, it's all the points that we sort of talked about earlier on with Chris, so not something I'm hugely worried about for now. But yeah, something I'll keep in mind for the future. That's the invoice for the work done. It costs $692 in total. So that's for the service, full service, and also for those little issues ironed out as well. Big shout out to Chris and Auto Talk Well General for doing all the work today. They've done a really good job. Been really welcoming as well, and super helpful in terms of letting me film and all that, which is obviously really useful for the channel. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to them actually, because they've got their own YouTube channel and do some incredible stuff. And not to mention as well, if you have like an Evo or something similar, yeah, give these guys a shout. They'll be able to sort you out. But anyway, that's about it for the video for today. Just wanted to give sort of a little bit of an update on the Evo and obviously give it the loving care and attention that it needed. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. If you don't, then don't bother. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.